Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is Mike Fox and welcome to my review of Godzilla King of the Monsters. I tried to record this video once and it turned out like horrifically garbage, so I'm redoing it. I'm just gonna make it more fun, just talk about how cool the movie was. Before I even get started, first of all, the one main thing I want to say is fuck the critics. Okay, don't listen to any of those bigwig criticky type people. Like what? I don't give a shit who it is. Uh, I've seen so many bad reviews. Like Godzilla King of the Monsters sitting at like a 40% on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, and it's just more proof that we don't need to pay attention to these people who are getting paid to write reviews for movies. A lot of the bad reviews were like, oh, there wasn't enough human drama. There was too much monster action. Like, yeah, that's what I want. That's what I want. Like the original. The 2014 Godzilla, while also amazing, its main issues were it was such a dick tease of a movie because like the monster fights would start and they'd be like, nope, you don't get to see it, you don't get to see it happening. And so my review of that was like it needed more Bryan Cranston and it needed more Godzilla, and Godzilla King of the Monsters solved at least one of those things. A lot of the other bad reviews I was seeing were like it didn't have the same type of human drama connection as like the original 1954 Godzilla had, which was a really weird comparison to make. Like, it doesn't make any sense to kind of. I mean, it does and it doesn't, because the original 1954 Godzilla was truly it was a science fiction horror movie, like really the horrors of nuclear war and the aftermath of that, and the what it take like the toll it took on the people of Japan. I would say after about the second Godzilla movie, it became more about just, hey, look, there's giant monsters fighting each other. Like after Godzilla raids again, and then it went to Godzilla versus Kong or King Kong versus Godzilla. Like after that point, it was just this is just pure science fiction fun now. At this point, like we've gotten a really cool established character, and it was great, and that's where this movie takes in. There is a little bit of that like human drama element, which I thought was perfect for what this movie needed. I mean, the movie needs human drama and human characters to kind of push the story along and give us as the viewers someone else to relate to character wise. Let me first talk about our human characters. Get them out of the way first. We do have our Russell family, Emma Russell, Madison, and Mark Russell. The characters were really well acted. Mark Russell is a little bit of an overpowered character. He always seems to know exactly what's going on, which in a lot of instances is okay because it seems like he's maybe like a zoologist or somebody that studies wildlife a lot, and so he knows like the behavior of animals a lot, and that comes up quite a bit when they're trying to track some of the titans, which makes a lot of sense. I did feel like he stole the show from Dr. Serizawa a little bit, which was kind of disappointing because Dr. Serizawa, who's played by Ken Watanabe, is by far one of my favorite actors right now. He's my favorite character in the Godzilla franchise. There were a few lines that I thought they could have mixed around a little bit more, a few scenes, and had Dr. Serizawa say a few lines that Mark had, but it is what it is. Another thing I totally love about Dr. Serizawa is he always pronounces Godzilla by his Japanese name. He always calls him Gojira. We must protect Gojira. It's awesome. He's such an awesome character, and it was really disappointing. It was somewhat disappointing, I guess, to see him sacrifice himself to save Godzilla. That's kind of a cool parallel between the original Dr. Serizawa in 1954, where he sacrificed himself to kill Godzilla and basically keep his work from getting into the wrong hands because he knew how terrible of a device the oxygen destroyer was. So it was kind of cool to see this Dr. Serizawa sacrifice himself to save Godzilla, and basically supercharge the heck out of him. Awesome. So one of my other favorite characters in the entire movie, which I feel like he completely stole the show, was Dr. Rick Stanton. He's basically just comic relief. He was always just spouting off like one-liners and puns. Like almost every line he had was just a pun of some kind. So he's by far one of my favorite characters. Right up there with Dr. Sarazawa, basically. Zili Zhang, who played Dr. Eileen Chen and Dr. Ling. She was kind of a representation of the Mothra twins, the little Mothra fairies, which I thought was really cool. I loved how they kind of worked that in. She's like a third or fourth generation of twin girls who have been working with Monarch throughout the ages, throughout the centuries. I guess not centuries. What am I talking about? A lot of the human characters are kind of forgettable, minus our main people, like the Russell family, those three, Dr. Sarazawa, and then the Mothra twins and the Dr. Rick Stanton. Like they had some other characters that were a bit bigger, like Sam Coleman and what's her face, Vivian Graham. They were both there, but I don't know, like they felt like kind of slightly like filler to me. And then like the rest of the human characters, I basically like I don't even remember their names at all. Like a lot of them were just the military people, kind of as they always are in Godzilla movies. They're filler. Like you have your main characters in a Godzilla movie, and then you'd have your military characters that back up those main characters, and that's what I kind of felt like those guys were there for. Story probably would have been lost without them, but they definitely felt unimportant.
That's messed up.
We're going to move on to the action and the awesomeness of the monsters throughout the movie. Right out of the bat, you get treated with Mothra and her larva form. She's totally kicking ass. She gets pissed off and starts like basically sticking people to the walls and just spitting her silk out at people, and it's really freaking cool. Just awesome. And then that's when Emma gets kidnapped, and they go release King Ghidorah. King Ghidorah's appearance and emergence scene was freaking unbelievable as well. I loved the design of King Ghidorah. I thought I wasn't gonna, after seeing some of the trailers, I didn't think I was gonna completely like it. King Ghidorah looked almost too realistic, that it didn't quite look like Ghidorah, which is kind of a weird thing. I was worried about the way his heads moved, because they moved like very snake-like. There were, which in the trailer it really threw me off, but actually watching the movie I didn't quite notice it nearly as much as it being thrown off. There were some scenes where it was probably just perspective of how the camera was viewing the monster, but there were certain scenes where his head almost like looked like it stretched out too far, which was pretty impressive. But soon as King Ghidorah like basically crawls out of his ice block, there's a huge, awesome fight scene between him and Godzilla. It's probably one of the coolest scenes in the movie, because you're in the perspective of our heroes in the helicopter, and shit is just happening all around you, and it's basically the entire movie. I was either or just smiling ear to ear from the sounds and the music, where there's just so much nostalgia to it. Rodan gets released next. I feel like Rodan probably got one of the best reveals in the entire movie, because he just comes out swinging. He comes out, he shakes himself off, and he just starts taking out planes left and right, like just a badass, super badass. He then clashes with King Ghidorah in the air, and that was an awesome scene too. Like, I don't think the flying monster fight scenes have looked that good in a Godzilla movie ever. Like, period. It was so freaking cool. I mean, the older ones, there's only so much you can do with puppetry and people in giant suits. I can't blame them for that. I love all the Godzilla movies, but this by far was some of the coolest scenes, especially the way Ghidorah like just knocked him out of the air. Ghidorah instantly made Rodan his bitch. And so Rodan had this awesome like reveal. He comes out swinging, only to get bitch slapped right in the face by Ghidorah. I do feel like Mothra and Rodan both got the short end of the stick in this movie. Rodan, no, both of them really got the short end of the stick. We didn't get to see a ton. I guess more Rodan did. But I really want to see more like Rodan and Mothra like action. There was some really fantastic action between the two of them at the end of the film during the main fight scene, which was also really incredible. Again, more flying fight scenes that they've never looked so good. Nothing's been this awesome in the Godzilla history of the franchise. It's just so much fun. It's such a fun movie. But all in all, as a Godzilla fan, if you're loving this MonsterVerse as much as I am, please go support this movie. See it as many times as you can afford to. Maybe I'll get to go see it a third time. I don't know, but support it. If the movies don't make money, we'll have less MonsterVerse stuff. And if you set through the end credits, and then you saw the end credit scene, you'll know that there's a huge setup going. I have no idea where it's completely going to go. I'll talk about that in another video. But like Godzilla vs. Kong is next. That comes out next year. I want this universe, this MonsterVerse, to keep going, even if it doesn't always include Godzilla. Like, I would totally support a solo Mothra film of this caliber, or a solo Rodan film, or they could even use some of those other kaiju or titans that they had, that they're original creations that are part of this universe that Toho doesn't have access to. Or they could just make more Kong films. I think Legendary has more access rights to Kong than they do the Toho monsters. I don't know, but it's awesome. I love it. If you're a Godzilla fan, you will love it. Go see it. You will not be disappointed. This movie does not disappoint. It is not a perfect film. There are a few things that I can complain about, but it was so good. It was so fun, and it was just a thrill ride. I loved it. My kids loved it. Everybody loves it. Kiwi fruit. Alright. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. I do cool, nerdy videos all the time. I talk about toys and nerdy news and just anything that I'm feeling about. Or I do stupid stuff like that Pokemon video I did. I don't know. I don't even know what this channel is about anymore. But please be sure to stick around. And until next video, guys, please be kind to each other, and I'll see you in the next video. Logical high five.